Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth part in cleaning up this old Steyr M95 carbine. In this part we are going to be cleaning up all of these parts, getting them ready to be reblued, and then bluing them if the weather permits this weekend. To start out with, we're going to set aside any part that we're not going to reblue. I have this tub here. The trigger, I will probably touch up the trigger at least. Trigger spring, we're not going to touch that. All of these magazine pieces are not going to be touched. The bolt, nothing on it, gets reblued, so what we're going to do is wipe it down with a thin coat of oil now that it's had time to dry. Now, to reassemble the bolt, we are going to pretty much reverse our steps. Take our bolt head, firing pin, spring, take the piece that got shot across the room, and all you do is tighten it up until the grooves match. Extractor, just like that. Before we go any further, we'll put our safety piece back in, get that tightened up, take our cocking piece and just start screwing it in. You can see it almost. Give it another turn. There, it's pretty well even with the end of it. There's our bolt reassembled. Everything we're left with is what we want to blue, including the barrel in action. Have our brake cleaner, all of our parts, paper towel, and this is a pretty simple step. Spray it down. Paper towel. You can see how much rust and oil come off of it. And there you have it. There is a degreased barrel in action. You can already see in some of these spots the rust poking through. I'm not super worried about that because I'm going to rest the rest of it. Let me grab my resting solution and we'll get to wiping it down. And here we are. All of our parts to be blued laid out. We have our rust bluing solution here and some cotton balls. This solution, I will try and leave a link in the description for the video. Backyard Ballistics posted his recipe for this in his first Luger video. All you do is take your part, cotton swab, get it nice and wet, and start rubbing. Get it nice and coated evenly. And what you should see is a very immediate and distinguished pink tint to the metal. You can kind of see it starting here. Could be because it's already rusted, that it's not wanting to do it completely. It's not clean metal per se. We will set these to the side. And this might be a sin to people that know chemistry, but I'm going to redip the same cotton swab. This one you can definitely see some of that pink starting. And there we have it. Next thing to do is let them set, rust overnight. This one, you can see there's some excess buildup. I will wipe that down here in a minute. But next thing to do is let it set overnight, rust, and in the morning or tomorrow afternoon, I will get to bluing it. Here are all of the parts after 2 days of sitting and rusting. Most of them have a fairly good coat of rust. It's hard to see with the yellow light in here. Some have more rust than others, which is fine. It should even out after boiling. But we are now ready to boil. Now that our water is at a rolling boil, I'm going to just drop the parts in. The magazine is slightly too big, so I'll have to flip it. Now set a timer for 30 minutes and let them boil. Okay, back at the sink, got a towel, and our parts that are still steaming. Bring some cool water over them. Now in order to get this black iron oxide off, we'll take some steel wool, 4/0 steel wool, very fine, and just start carting it off. I like to do it under the water, makes it a lot easier. But once we're all done with that, we'll come back and see what they look like. And here we have all of our finished parts. I will let them dry before I oil them. But as you can see, they darkened up very nicely. They have a much more even finish to them. Some parts could probably be gone over again, like this barrel band. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I think one pass is plenty. Like always, less is more. So up next is the barrel and receiver. So usually when I want to boil a barrel and receiver, they're much longer. So I had this tray made. My dad helped me make it. Stainless steel. And usually I have to go outside and build a fire under it. But we're going to try it on the stove. With how little this receiver is, it really doesn't take much room in it. I'm just going to put as little water in there as I can and hopefully get it to a boil. I used this on the other carbine and it did not get very hot, but it still did a decent job, so we'll see what it looks like. I have a little bit of water in here and it's starting to heat up. I'm going to go ahead and place the barrel inside, just so I don't put too much water in it. Like I said, I just barely want to cover that receiver, so I'll keep filling it up until that's covered. Alright, everything is covered in water completely. I will leave this maybe 30 minutes. Hopefully it'll come to a boil. If it doesn't, I may have to resort to something else, but we'll give that about 30 minutes here. This has been boiling for roughly 20 minutes now, or on the stove for 20 minutes. It's been boiling for maybe 15. It is actually boiling though. I'm kind of surprised. Mainly right over the burners. and mainly right over this large burner, but it should be enough to transform that red iron oxide into black iron oxide. I'm going to up the time another 10 minutes or so and let it finish out, but this should turn out pretty nice. I'm going to turn the stove off, take this downstairs and cart it off just like all the other parts. Alright, here we have our cooled off barrel and receiver. We're going to do the same thing. Next, we'll run a couple dry patches through. Here's the bore after several passes of cleaning. As good as you can see it, it cleaned up very nice. There's very nice rifling. I think this will be a decent shooter. There's another angle. Now that all of our parts are dry, they're ready for a nice helping of oil. I'm just going to be using some simple rim oil. Now that everything has a nice coat of oil, take a paper towel, wipe off all the excess, and it will be ready to reassemble. Next thing to do, grab your trigger, spring, and receiver. It's important to get these two pieces back together properly. This stub goes where that spring is, so you can get it started. Maybe this small screwdriver be enough to use a pick to compress that spring. There, I got it back in its original position. You can flip the receiver over. The trigger sits in there like that. You have your spring. And then this pin will hold that spring in place. We have the gun vise back. Grab the stock. We can reset the barrel and receiver. Flip it over. Magazine. Grab our two screws. Handguard. Now rear barrel band, front barrel band, and screw. Last but certainly not least is the bolt. And if you know anything about these old Steyr carbines or Steyr rifles, especially from RTI, the bolt face sticking out like that is incredibly unusual. Usually these are wore out to where they will not do that. We'll reinsert the bolt. And there you go. That is a completed rifle. Here you can see close up of what the rifle looks like. I thought the wood came out very well. The wood looks phenomenal for how little I did. The metal, same way, looks great for how little I did. There you can see the serial number. The receiver and barrel do match. There you can see that stock repair and what I'm guessing is maybe a hobnail in the stock. There's the acceptance date and the crest. You can just faintly read the Budapest M95. It's pretty wore off though. Here are some of my first shots with it. I'm not going to hold it super close to my face just in case something goes wrong. Yes, I should have been wearing safety glasses, but I was being a little pressed for time. I am shooting just standard 7.62 by 54 rimmed PPU, or Privy Partisan. This first rifle that I'm shooting is the rifle that I restored. I did end up shooting both my M95 carbines, and I shot 10 rounds of the 7.62 by 54 rimmed out of each of them. You can see in each one of these clips the significant muzzle flash. That's because these cases are not technically the correct caliber. All they are doing is fire forming the brass to the chamber of the gun. This will make reloading 8x50 a lot easier. Now there should be some new commercial made 8x50 Mannlicher coming out. I find it easier to just reload. It's always going to be more accurate to load yourself, and if I have the brass already, why not? I'm shooting at a distance of roughly 100 yards here. I can't say that either were accurate in the slightest. Now that's mainly because I'm shooting a smaller projectile and a larger bore. It's not going to be as accurate. I wasn't really going for accuracy here. I was hoping to hit the target, but I wasn't betting on it. I mainly just wanted the brass to reload. And that'll be a future video, reloading for this caliber and doing a more significant accuracy test with the reloads. Here you can see the target. I just stuck a couple wet leaves to it for an aiming point. I didn't hit it once. It's roughly 1.5 feet by 2.5 feet. I did splash water on it, so I was hitting the water. I was hitting the ground around it. I never hit the target though. You can see at the bottom of the pallet there is a spot that looks like I hit it. I may have, but the cardboard was never broke. Overall, I'm very happy with these purchases for how much I paid versus what I got. I thought I got a great deal. They came out beautiful. You really can't ask for better with World War I era rifles. These rifles have seen so much, and the fact that they came out this nice, I thought I got a great deal with it. If you have watched this far, I want to thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you watched all the parts, again, it means the world to me. Thank you so much. I hope that you maybe learned a little bit or were just entertained, but thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I will have many more videos like this coming your way. Making these videos is a good motivator for me to get my projects done. I get to make something cool, you guys get to watch it, I get to learn something. Hopefully you guys will learn something, or at the very least are entertained. So once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.